Do you want to learn how to bake high hydration bread in 2 different ways? Stay watching this video. Good morning everyone and welcome to another baking video. Today we'll be baking, I know. Okay, but we'll be baking high hydration bread. But what is high hydration? When we're talking about high hydration, we're talking about those who are going to hold a lot of water. Yes, a lot of water. But why? Because what we are looking for is a dough that is holding all that huge amount of water in the baking process will evaporate and leave the bread really light and with a beautiful open crumb. But the success of this mission depends on 2 things that we need to check before: the flour and the sourdough starter. So the first thing that we need to check is a strong wheat flour. But how are we going to do that? Don't worry, I have the solution. On a bowl, we put 100 grams of the strong flour that we are going to use. Then we add 80 grams of water, which means 80% hydration. That's a lot of water. And now we start mixing. No kneading, just mixing. We're trying to wet all the flour. Now we cover it and we leave it on the counter for 1 hour doing autolyze. Time to check that gluten membrane. Let's take the film out, wet my hands and start stretching the dough. And take a look at this gluten membrane. It's huge. So that means that this is the right flour for today's recipe. So quite an interesting experiment, right? So what would have happened if the gluten membranes would have broken earlier? So that means that this flour can resist 80% hydration. Then we can do 2 things. 1, we lower the hydration maybe to 70, or 2, we change the flour. Flour checked. Now let's move to the sourdough starter. Yes, can you pass me that one? No, give me the first one. But what do I do with this? This is not active at all. Okay, don't worry, we're going to do the following. We'll take from the bottom of this sourdough starter, which is not that active, a few spoons and we'll put it in a new jar. Now we'll add the flour and the water. We'll start mixing until everything is well combined. And that is all. Now we put the rubber band and let it rise at room temperature. Okay, so now here we have our super active levain, full of bubbles, full of air and ready to start working. Another benefit of doing this is that we have lowered the acidity. And you know that the acid is the first enemy of the gluten network. So now we are ready to start working. Now that we know that the starter is active and we also know that we're using the correct flour for this bread, let's check the recipe. Strong wheat flour, whole wheat flour, whole rye flour, sourdough starter, salt, water. So here I have all the ingredients and this time are duplicated because I'll be doing one with my friend the mixer and here on the other side with my friend, my hen.
Hi Gluten, how are you?
Time to start. First the mixer. In the mixer bowl we put all the flours. Now the salt, the sourdough starter, and we start adding the water, leaving some for later. Good, the mixer has started and I'll be adding water very, very slowly. There is no one specific time for kneading. What I'll be looking for is for a good gluten development. Take a look at the dough. It's looking really, really good. So time to add some more little water. Mixer working. Now time to start the other dough with my hands. Time to start the handmade dough. In a bowl, we'll put all the flours. Now we add the salt, the sourdough starter, and we'll start adding the water very, very slowly. With the scraper, I'll start mixing everything. I am not kneading, just incorporating all the ingredients. What I'm looking for is to wet all the flours. A little bit more here, a little bit more over here. Okay, that's enough. Okay, time to add the rest of the water. Five more minutes and we're done. And that's all. Oof, and the mixer is also ready. Okay, it's looking good, but before I check the gluten membrane, let me cover this one first. Okay, now it's time to check what the mixer has done. Well done, thank you. And now time to cover it. Is that noise necessary? So here I have both those already kneaded. Well, this one, the one that the mixer did. And this one is just doing an autolyze. So now I'll leave them here on the counter at room temperature for 30 minutes. And then we'll start making some stretch and foldings. Are you lost with all the sourdough bread recipes that you find on the internet? Would you like to learn all the tips and tricks to make your own sourdough bread at home? Then I have the solution. I have designed the perfect masterclass of sourdough bread just made for you. By clicking the link on the description, you will learn how to make and take care of your sourdough starter, how to knead, shape, ferment and bake your sourdough bread, how to use and read the baker's percentage, all the basic techniques to bake like a pro at home, and how to read and understand your dough. Don't miss out on it and click the link on the description right now.
Gluten.
Oh, okay, time to stretch and fold. Let's take the cover out and wet my hands. We'll imagine that the dough is divided in four. So we take the first part and stretch it gently without tearing it apart, and we fold it into itself. Now we'll move to the second quarter and do the same. Stretch and fold. Now the third one, the same, stretch and fold. And the last one, it's a little bit more tighter. Now the dough has a beautiful shape. That's all. I let it rest here and let's move to the handmade dough. Let's remove the shower cap. And now I wet my hands. So let's check the membrane. And remember that with this dough we haven't done almost anything. The autolyze has done all the job for us. And wow! So what do you say? Is it kneaded or not? That's the magic of the gluten. And now, as we did before, we start stretching and folding the 4 quarters. Wow, I love this dough. I still can't believe it. Okay, that's all. Let's cover it. And here I have both doughs already kneaded and with the stretching and foldings done. Now they will start bulk fermenting. Bulk fermenting means that the dough should rise and double in size. That should take around 4 hours maybe, at room temperature always. When I'm talking about room temperature, I am talking around 77 degrees Fahrenheit. And another thing that you could do is maybe some more stretching and foldings. That's not what I'm going to do, so I'll see you in 4 hours. Good. It's been 4 hours of bulk fermentation, and here I have the two opponents. On my left side, I have the dough done with the mixer, and on the right side, I have the dough done with my own hands. So this was a competition. So now it's time to shape some bread. Some semolina on the counter, and I take out the dough out of the bowl. Let's start shaping the batter. Take one side, flip, the other side on top of it. Now I roll it into itself. Now some stitches over here. Some stitches over there too. Some more semolina on top of it. And transfer it to the banneton. And now we do the same with the other one. Now that the batters are shaped, it's time to take them into the fridge, which is at around 40-41 degrees Fahrenheit. So they can do the cold fermentation until tomorrow. See you. Okay, here I am again, gluten morning everyone, and here are the two loaves, which rested cold fermenting all the night in the fridge. Take a look. Here's the one with the mixer. It's full of air and ready to be baked. And here's the one done all with my arms. And looks exactly the same. Interesting. So let's bake. When we're talking about baking, there are a lot of methods that we could use. Here in my channel you have a lot of videos about that. What we're looking for is to maintain or to keep all the gases, the steam that comes out of the bread, in the oven. The thing is, when you're using a convector oven that has a fan, it takes all those gases out of the oven. So that is going to be a little bit complicated. So that's why we use the Dutch oven, so we can keep all those gases in it. But today I'm using a new method, the baking bag. Yes, it's a baking bag, the one that you use to bake, for example, some chicken, some pork. Well, today we'll be baking some bread in it. So these are the bags that I've been talking about. So the good thing about these baking bags is that they do the same job as the Dutch oven. They maintain all these gases inside the bag during the first half of the baking, and then we take it out and leave the bread to finish the cooking process. Let's do this. Don't do this at home, because this bread is just for me. So you wanted to? Okay, luckily I have to. We dust the peel with some semolina flour, and then we transfer the loaf on it. Now we slash it, and very carefully we put it in the bag. Okay, let's go. The oven is preheated at 482 degrees Fahrenheit. Good, the baking process has already begun. 20 minutes with the bag, and here on top I have the one done with the machine, and down here the one done with my own arms and hands too. Okay, 20 minutes, time to remove the bag. Here I have the both loaves, machine and hand. Time to let them free. I don't want to spoil this, but there's some difference, right? Back into the oven. Okay, I lower temperature a little bit and now I let them 20 minutes more till they're finished. Oh, someone's calling me. The bread is ready. And finally, after all this work, here are the two loaves. I know that you have already noticed that this one is the one done with the mixer, and this one is a handmade one. The color, the crust, both are the same. The only change is the volume, because this one had a better gluten development, that's why. But both are light, both are hollow, and both must be delicious. So why don't we open them up and check the crumb if there is another difference too. So, what do you say now? This one, the bigger one, the outside was incredible. And this one, not that good. But on the inside, the crumb of this one is much open with more air pockets than this one. Of course, this one is good too. But this one, And it's also a good reflection. Not what you see from the outside, it's the same as you see on the inside. Okay, time to try one of them. And I think that this one is a winner. So let's test this one. It tastes incredible. I will never get tired of baking bread. So please let me know in comments what do you think about this new experiment. If you want, share it, like it, and I'll see you on the next video. I hope you have enjoyed this video. And if you want to learn more about sourdough bread and sourdough starter, I encourage you to check the link on the description. And remember, this masterclass was especially designed for you.